Alright, welcome to my channel and welcome to the Poor Man's Game Awards. Because, you need one. Because I'm not rich and all that. Look, I wanted to do a top 10 video, but then I realized that top 10 videos are boring now. And so I'm doing this instead. So here in this video, I'm gonna go through the different categories and, give awards to these games. Now, obviously, these are not cash prizes. And the best I can really give is my gratitude. Or actually not for some of these cases. So yeah, without any further delay, let's just get on with the video itself. So yeah, let's go. So for the first category, we have the game that I wish I hadn't bought. And definitely hadn't played for 125 hours. And the winner for this category is FIFA 22. Now, this is a game which, when EA announced this year, I wasn't really looking forward to buying it, but then I saw that they're finally doing some career mode improvements. They have a creator club now. They wanted to improve the player career, things like that. And I thought, hey, maybe finally this is the year that I will enjoy FIFA. Yeah, it didn't quite work like that at all. The gameplay is still garbage. The game modes are still garbage. Bugs from FIFA 18 are still present in FIFA 22. There are some new bugs which are added to the roster. And the best part, some of these bugs, which are really major for me because I'm a career mode player, they can be fixed with mods, but EA still hasn't bothered to fix these months after launch. So there are literally modders who are doing a better job than EA in updating their games. So if you are a football fan and you're looking to play football and you really want an option to play other than FIFA, well, tough luck. You kind of are out of options. The best football game that I can recommend you is Rocket League. Now to the second category, which is the game I definitely didn't buy and play. And the award for this category goes to Final Fantasy VII on PC. And now, of course, it was at its launch $70 and an Epic Store exclusive. And for people in India, the price increase was roughly around 70% of what they usually charge in this country. So I just decided, let them be greedy and I'm just not gonna buy it. Because of course I didn't buy it. But hypothetically, if I had bought it and if I had played it, I would have said that it is genuinely one of the best stories I've played this year. And also, hypothetically, once again, if I had bought and played the game, I also would have said that the PC port is absolute garbage. But of course, since I haven't, therefore that game is in this category. Now moving on to the third category that I have here, which is the best horror game. Now this year, we didn't really have that many horror games, but we did have Resident Evil Village. And we have had a few others. Out of all those games, the best horror game goes to Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy. Because what is more horrifying than looking at Ryder with his 7 bones in his arm? Or looking at any of the other character models throughout this trilogy? So honestly, one of the biggest reasons why I found this very horrifying is if they can fuck up something like the GTA trilogy. Like, this should be like an instant success, right? You are bumping up the visuals, it is still the same basic game as it used to be, and nostalgia points. This is an easy win. If they can fuck this up, then Rockstar can fuck up absolutely everything. And so that is a very scary prospect. And thus, this is my best horror game for the year. Now the next award goes for the best gaming company at sucking. So this prestigious award will be handed to that company which has entertained us all year with their horrible practices and stories. So of course this year almost every single publisher was basically just trying to one-up each other and just trying to make sure that they hold this coveted position of being the most hated publisher in the gaming space. And to that end, there was of course CDPR, who at the late end of last year launched Cyberpunk 2077, which, I don't really want to talk about that. It was a good game, as I've said in my review, but it didn't quite launch or play to its strengths properly. But then they also had the whole devotion problem. And then there are other publishers, like for example, Electronic Arts. You know, the company who was voted as the most hated company in America for 3 times in a row. Somehow, this year they weren't the worst company. And I am honestly very surprised. I know that COVID has really, changed things around, things have changed, our world has changed, the way we perceive things have changed. But this is the biggest shock to me. Like, EA not being the most hated company? I absolutely did not see that one coming. But it's not. Then there are companies like Ubisoft who did precious little, and when I say precious little, I mean absolutely fucking nothing, to address the various concerns that they had with, the sexual harassment cases and general employee abuse. But of course, there is some nostalgia playing in my head, and thus Ubisoft is not higher on this list. Because of course, I work for them and my experience was generally great, so it's kind of weird for me. I'm in a weird space right now. So other than that though, there are 2 companies who have really battled it out this year to become the worst gaming company. And of course, one of them was Take-Two. They launched the GTA Trilogy, which I have mentioned before in my video. That was an absolute unmitigated disaster. Then of course, they took down the old versions from Steam, because of course they did. And then they said that no, we care about game preservation, so they reinstated the games, but only on the Rockstar launcher and only as a bundle. So you cannot buy these games individually anymore. And your only option to play these admittedly remarkable games is to buy the definitive edition or the old edition, both of which are packaged in a bundle, of course, and both of which cost much more than they actually should. So of course there's that, and they didn't stop there. No. Take-Two went one step further and actually actively sued modders. Take-Two took down mods which were older than half of GTA Online's player base. Take-Two actually went after innocent people who committed the cardinal offense of actually making the game better, actually doing a better job at making their older games better than Rockstar themselves. So yeah. And also, one final cherry on the top of this awful cake. They also sued Hazelight Studios for their game It Takes Two. Because It Takes Two sounds like Take-Two. I'm just not going to say much about this, because if I start on it, I'll go on an entirely different rant. And so I'll just let you imagine my anger instead. But of course, the crown for the worst gaming company this year has to go to Activision Blizzard. Because every time anything comes out about Activision Blizzard, it is absolutely a horror story. There are people in Activision, there are innocent developers in Activision who are staging walkouts, who are doing things. Their CEO is earning multi-million-dollar bonuses while firing employees and shutting down their QA divisions for very successful games which earn billions in revenue. I'm talking of course about Call of Duty. And I wish that their crime stopped there. There are some crimes that I don't even want to discuss on this channel. And they are easily, comfortably the worst company. Although I would say Take-Two gave them a big fight. And I'm sure if someone were to investigate Take-Two for all of these offenses that Activision is currently being investigated for, I am sure that they would come up with a similar sort of a case against Take-Two, because you don't become that shitty of a publisher without doing these sort of things. So I do think that will happen eventually, but right now, yeah, Activision is pretty bad. that doesn't of course excuse all the other developers, it just means that they take this crown and may they choke on it. Now moving on to the next category, which is the game I can play for hours. And the winner for this category is Forza Horizon 5, because I did play this game for hours. What is wrong with me? But anyway, what I meant was, this game, Forza Horizon 5, a lot of people ignored. I have fought with a lot of people over this, that it absolutely genuinely deserved to be the game of the year, or at least be nominated for the game of the year. But of course, it didn't get that recognition, even though both the critics and the people who played the game actually loved it. I don't understand why it didn't get the recognition, but obviously it didn't, so yeah, it gets the recognition here in the Poor Man's Game Awards. And it is genuinely a game that I enjoyed this year. There are precious few games that released this year that I actually enjoyed, and this was among them. And I enjoyed this so much that if I had made a Game of the Year list, it would have won Game of the Year. It didn't, because I actually do have a Game of the Year, and that's not this, but it was very, very close. Very close. This was genuinely one of the best games to come out this year. And you don't even need to do anything. If you don't mind if you don't want to race, if you don't want to do anything, don't do it. Just take your favorite car, which in this enormous list of cars, I am sure you can find your favorite car. Just take your favorite car, just go on a drive, listen to music. That's all. That's exactly what I do. I just take my M3 E46. I have swapped in a V8 into it, and I also have the race transmission, so that makes it sound like the M3 GTR. I just drive that around. I don't even care about anything else. So just, do that. Now to the next category, which is the best game that I did not play. And that award goes to It Takes Two. Now, I genuinely wanted to play this game, but you have to play this game in co-op, and my friend's situation is not that good. I mean, I have friends, it's just that they actually have jobs and stuff, and so they are not as free as I am. मैं वेला हूँ, बाकी लोग नहीं है. See, that's a problem. So the thing is, I will eventually play this game with one friend or another, but I still haven't gotten around playing this game. And of course, this won Game of the Year, and it definitely genuinely looks interesting to me, and I will play it at some point. I just haven't gotten around to it. So yes, the best game that I didn't play this year goes to It Takes Two. Now on to the next category, we have the holy shit, this is way better than I thought this would be game. And that goes to Hotwheels Unleashed. When I first heard about this game, now of course, Hot Wheels has appeared in racing games before, and it appeared in Forza Horizon 3, I believe. I'm not quite sure about it, but I think it was Forza Horizon 3. It appeared as a specific DLC, and I absolutely loved it. It was awesome. But when they announced the game, I just thought it was going to be a generic cash grab sort of a game. I didn't think it was going to be as fun as it is. And it is fun. Now, obviously the game has issues, but I would say just turn your brain off and just imagine that you are actually racing with proper Hot Wheels cars. Because honestly, it does give off that feeling, and I absolutely love it. Because I used to collect Hot Wheels cars when I was a kid. I kind of still do. So yeah, this gets the award. So yeah. Now moving on to the next category, the Me of the Year. And now when I say the Me of the Year, I mean this is a game that perfectly, represents me. Where it perfectly, gels with my life. It perfectly represents what my life is like, what I am like. And of course, this award goes to Battlefield 2042. Because this year, this was the only game which I was actually hyped for, but realized that it was an absolutely poorly designed, poorly optimized piece of shit. Which is perfectly representative of me. Like everyone, when I was a kid, everyone was like, yeah, he's a really bright student and all that stuff. And they thought, I would go on to achieve absolutely great things. But then I absolutely face planted, everywhere. So, it all went to shit and all that stuff. So yeah, this game perfectly represents me. So that's why this is in the winner in this category. Now moving on to the second last category in this video, it is the best game that I played that wasn't released in 2021. So this year I played a lot of games, but a lot of those games weren't actually games that came out in 2021. So among all of those games, the best game that I played that didn't release in 2021 is actually a game from 2007. It's this little game that is called Assassin's Creed. You may or may not have heard of it. Yeah, if you have been on my channel, that's actually a lie. You have heard of it at some point. So if you're on my channel, this is basically my channel. Assassin's Creed is basically what I do on this channel. I want to branch out, I just don't know how, because I'm not that good with games. I need to find something that I'm actually good with. And I'm good with this. And holy shit, I did not expect this game to be that good. Because when I last ranked it in my rankings video, it was dead last. And now, well, I don't want to spoil what rank it actually has because that video is still pending. But yeah, it redeemed itself a lot. And I feel like an absolute dumbass for putting it in the bottom of my Assassin's Creed ranking list. So yeah, this is a genuinely good game. And if you haven't played it, like I know, this looks old and it is repetitive to some extent. But I would still say, my experience in this game was a lot better than my experience in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Maybe I could even go so far as to say that playing this modern trilogy, like Assassin's Creed Origins, Odyssey and Valhalla, it actually made me appreciate Assassin's Creed 1 more, because I have made a video on that too. It is a little bit, on the nose and sarcastic, but I genuinely feel that this is a better game than Assassin's Creed Valhalla in a lot of respects. So yeah, so this is really good. Now to the final category, and this is obviously the best game that I played that was actually released in 2021. So the game of the year, for me at least, is Deathloop. Because I rushed through Deathloop in the last 2 days. I'm going to be honest about that. Because I played Deathloop, then I stopped playing it for quite a while, then I jumped back and I rushed through it. But I'm damn glad that I did, because this is a genuinely good game. Deathloop, there have been some opinions to the contrary. For example, SkillUp said otherwise because he liked Prey's DLC and he felt like this wasn't as good. And that is something I can understand, but I haven't played the Prey DLC. For me, this sort of mechanic where it's basically just a Dishonored game, but there's a time loop and you need to kill all your targets in just one loop. That you build towards that. And I feel like I'm trying to make it as simple as possible because you need to go and experience this game. For me, it is a genuine recommendation, and you should, if you can, you should absolutely go and play this game. This is an awesome game, and just, yeah, that's that. And I really had fun with this. Among all the games that I played this year, this was my favorite. Like, it just about edged Forza Horizon 5. Like, if I hadn't bought this, like I bought this at the end of November when there was a Steam sale, and I got it for really cheap. I bought this then, and I have not regretted it. So yeah, this is my game of the year. Now all that said though, I tried to make this as lighthearted as possible. And of course, the whole point of this video was actually, to discuss some of the good games and some of the absolute bullshit that the gaming industry has been feeding us this year. And overall, this year I would say my experience for games this year is actually a little bit worse than what I experienced last year. I felt like last year the game lineup was better, but of course you can chalk that down to, COVID delaying a lot of the games. So a lot of the games that were supposed to come out in 2021 are now coming out in 2022. And the games that did come out in 2020 were almost already ready, so they only had a few months of delays. Or in the case of Cyberpunk, they were still somehow a year early. So yeah, but I would still say last year I just enjoyed gaming that much more. But I am really excited about next year. Like, almost every month has some excellent game coming out, starting with God of War on PC, January next year. So obviously I'm gonna get that. And so yeah, overall this year has been good, but I have seen better. So All that said though, what do you guys think? Or which game did you enjoy? Which game absolutely made you want to off yourself? And which is the purchase that you absolutely regretted? So let me know all of those down in the comments below. And if you like the video, then press the like button and do subscribe to my channel for more content. And all that said, I will leave you guys in peace.